thank you for investing in you. Thank you for choosing, because life's about choices. We all have choices. So thank you for choosing to change. And change is messy, as we've been talking about. But you have made the commitment and the choice to change. The reason we started this is because there's so much negativity going around, and we realize that we can be part of what we want to become. And so we decided to choose to change. So thank you for coming on this journey with us and also choosing to be part of this community. So lots of C's. So it is my abs. Oh yes, before I go further, um, before I even introduce Jamie, remember my water? So my wellness goal. I've expanded my wellness goal. I am now in my very, very zen office. My very, very zen office where I now work out. And my office was such a mess. But I focused on decluttering in May. And now I'm in my office all the time. I love my office. I even do my yoga in my office. I'm drinking water. And I know you probably can't see my Fitbit, but it's actually saying 9,000 steps. So my focus is on wellness for this month, and I'm doing it in multiple ways. And one of the reasons this is possible is because of you guys, and also because of Jamie. So Jamie realized that I had some struggles in my mental journey, and she's been holding me accountable. She's been sending me exercises, as she mentioned. She's every time we're on meeting, and we're in lots of meetings, she's like, "Where's your water, Andrea? Where's your water?" And that's what we need. We need others to hold us accountable, to journey with us, so we can get at the end of all of this. And the end, who knows when the end is? It's going to be so different. So without further ado, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce you to Jamie, who in a very short time has become a dear, dear friend and journeying with me to make me a better me. So Jamie is the owner and founder of Buddha Life Academy, and they use traditional martial arts, and we have some other martial arts folks, Nadia and Alyssa, on the call. But she uses traditional martial arts to really help her audience, her target, which I'm becoming part of that, become more physical and mentally strengthened. Physical, mental resilience, because you need your mind, your body, and soul to get to where you want to go. So without further ado, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce Jamie.
That was an amazing introduction. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Andrea. Guys, I had to give it back to Andrea. I mean, she said a lot of things that are true about me and my business, but she also speaks from the heart, and she has no holds barred when she's talking about where she wants to go or what she's going to do, and she lays it on the table, and I admire that so much. How many of us can agree that as we change and as we grow, it can get pretty messy, right? Nobody really likes to admit that part. But through growth, it gets messy. And Andrea lays it on the table. She's happy to be like, this is where I'm at. I'm working on my Zen space, and this is it. I'm working on decluttering, and she does the work. And not only that, but she helps other people do the work, and that's what's really, really powerful. So I'm super excited to be partnering with such great people, and to have you guys on the call, because you are only a reflection of us, and we're all in this together. So guys, if you are just joining us today, I'm going to do a very quick recap of what this challenge is and what we did last week, so that way we can get right into the meat of things today. Does that sound good? Yeah, I've got you all muted, but we're going to unmute in a couple of minutes. That way we can chat. But basically, if you are just joining us, welcome. This is the start of the Achieve Growth Challenge. This is exclusively for June. We've actually cut the registration out, so that way we can't have anybody new joining us. So that way we can journey together through growth. Now, Andrea's talking a lot about choices and change. And yes, there's change happening all around us. I think we can agree it's a wild world out there right now. I did a live that Hetal was on the other day, and I said it's not just unprecedented, it's actually unbelievable. So as we're changing, we have the choice. We can go with the flow and things happen to us, or we can evolve. We can choose to grow. We can choose to get better. We can make the choice to move forwards with our lives, and that's what this is for. For June, we've assigned this month, and we have asked, and last week we went over a self-assessment tool, how to kind of look at yourself and evaluate. It's like, okay, what area do I want to grow in? What's most important? Career, financial, where we're talking about money, spiritual, relational, and there's one more that I can't remember. Wellness. There we go. Choose one area that is most important to you. Focus in on that. The one thing that we can control is ourselves. So let's choose to focus on that single goal. And from there, just dedicate these 30 days towards moving ahead in that one area, whatever it is. It does not matter. We've had people who are vulnerable and honest, and they're like, gosh, my challenge is, I'm really having a hard time building relationships with my spouse. Like, this is really challenging being in the same house all the time with people, or I'm having a really hard time with wellness and actually getting out and being active. And this community helps keep each other accountable. So by being honest, being vulnerable, putting it out there as a community, we move forward and we help each other get through the mess. And that's why we meet once a week. So on these once a week meetings, what we do is we share a lesson to help you get through it. And we have a conversation around it, encourage discussion where we can continue to move forward. And so that at the end of the 30 days, we can look back and be like, wow, I can't believe how far I came. I can't believe I actually took even one step closer towards my goal. So that's why you guys are here today. And last week we identified how to choose a goal. How do we even go through and identify those things within ourselves? Today, we're getting into the meat of it. I'm really excited to introduce what we're talking about today and who is going to share it, because we're going to be talking a little bit about beginning with the end in mind. And guys, I'll be honest with you, if you don't already have a pen or paper with you, I strongly recommend that you grab one or grab something so that you can write down. Yes, I see Jen with her pen and paper. Awesome. Take notes on your computer, because this is going to be really important that you not just hear, but write. And there are different ways to learn. So make sure that you are repeating the information. Paul is an expert at that. So you can also share tips about different ways to learn. But make sure you're writing it down, review this information, and start to integrate it into your life. Because we're going to talk about begin with the end in mind, and then the fuel to your fire, how to get through and push through. And that's your why. Now, the woman that I'm about to introduce, yes, she runs an amazing business called Achieve Potential. She is Andrea's business partner. But her story of how she got there is very powerful. This is somebody who, when she shares her story of where she came from, it's unbelievable how far her life has gone. If you've ever felt like you've had dreams where it's like, oh, I don't know if I can ever get there. I don't know if I can really do that. I really want to live here. I really want to do this, but maybe not. Maybe not today. Maybe not tomorrow. Maybe I actually can't. This is somebody who changed her mindset and changed her life in the process. And that's why I'm so excited to bring on Lisa to share about her story with beginning with the end in mind and how dreaming really opens up your mindset. Lisa?
Okay. So before we start our training today, I actually do want to share with you because I want everyone to understand why we, all of us, are so passionate about what we are doing today with, or not today, but just with the Achieve Growth Challenge. And I want to share particularly why I am so passionate about it. So I want you to come just on a little journey with me. I want to tell you about 7 years ago. I lived in Ontario and I was a business owner, and I was, you know what, for all intents and purposes, I was successful, but I was tired and I was unhappy. And I had a big dream that I knew nothing about, by the way. I dreamed that someday I really wanted to travel. And at this point in my life, and I'm going to be completely honest with you, I was in my mid-40s, late 40s at this point in time, and I still had never done any traveling. I had been to the United States and I had been to Mexico once. I lived in Canada. I lived in a border town. So me saying that I traveled to the States, I'm not sure that counted as travel because it was just crossing a bridge and, you know, shopping in the States. So I was not living my dream. And I met Andrea, the same Andrea that's on this call, and she, you know, was working out on this new idea of Achieve. And so she put me through the beginning of this program that she was starting. And I have to tell you that it changed my life. And so it ties into our training today. So that's why I want to spend a little bit of time telling you about it. So I learned that I needed a clear vision. I needed a clear vision of what success looked like for me, because I felt successful a little bit with my business, but it wasn't my full life, best life. And so I really needed to get clear on what that vision was. And Andrea made me do that. And then I started taking steps towards it. It's just small steps because my dream was really big and I got lost in the hows. So my dream was to travel, but not just travel, to travel to Europe or travel the world. Really, I wanted to live. I wanted to live in other countries. And when I thought about the hows, like how could I leave my business? I can't even go on vacation for 2 weeks. I could only do 10 days because I thought my business would fall apart because I was self-employed. I couldn't imagine where we'd get the money to fly our family to the Europe, never mind live there. And so I got so stuck in all that I don't want to say I gave up because I still always had that dream, but I did nothing to make it happen. And through Achieve, I was able to start clarifying my vision and then start getting prepared for it and being intentional so that, you know, I say I'm ready for when the opportunity hits, but really I was making that opportunity come about because I was getting into the things I needed to know that is not coming out right. But I was getting really just in alignment with where I wanted to be. So I asked myself, what do I need to do if I want to travel for long periods of time or I want to relocate to Europe? What would I need to do? If this was possible, what would I need to do? Well, I thought, well, first thing is I need to get my husband and my children on board because I can't go without them. So I had to convince them. Well, that didn't take much, but I had to do that and they were on board. Then remember that business that I can't leave for more than 10 days? Well, I needed to deal with that. How was I going to deal with that? So that was a bigger question. That took a lot longer than convincing my husband and children. I then looked forward and said, well, my kids would be out of school, or I'd have to put them in school, or I'd have to do something with them school-wise. So I had to make sure that the school was on board because, you know, you just can't take your kids out of school. And then we're about to leave Canada and we have a good medical system. My kids and I, like, we need to be healthy in order to do this. So I had to start working on health because, again, we wouldn't have the cushion of Canadian medical system. And then I thought, well, how are we going to do this? Because we don't have that kind of money. So we started looking for opportunities and we thought, well, my husband's company, you know, they have spots in Europe. Maybe they could help us. So my husband started looking into what opportunities would be available and what he needed to do. And then, of course, we have family obligations. You know, we have elderly parents and we have, you know, aunts and uncles and stuff like that. So I had to kind of look at what that looked like as well. So I started doing all this. And I want to tell you, it didn't happen right away. It takes time, and it took intention, and it took sometimes not, you know, some scary stuff. But what I learned from this was that this path that I started on, unfortunately, wasn't straight, and there was detours, and there was things that wasn't what I planned. But I learned that these were steps that I needed to do in order to prepare me for what I wanted. So the person that was living in Ontario was not the person that was going to be living in Europe. I had to become somebody different. And by being intentional and doing these little things that I talked to you about, it started to grow me into the person I needed to be. And so for me, it became, life happened, and my husband's company actually wanted us to move us outside of Ontario and to BC. Well, that's not where I wanted to be. But I thought, you know, maybe this is the direction we're supposed to be. Maybe it's preparing us for something bigger. And that's the kind of attitude I had. I honestly did. As much as I was scared and I was sad, I just thought, maybe this is what we needed. So I took a positive attitude and I talked to the kids and said, this is great. We're going to move to BC. And I taught them how to relocate. We're going to go to a new school. You're going to get new friends. You're going to embrace a new community. And it doesn't sound like much, right? Ontario to BC, big deal. But honestly, it was a culture shock. And so my kids learned how to reintegrate into a new community and learn what it's like out there. Because remember, in Canada, everything's done provincially. So the education system, the transportation system, even what a flashing green light means in Ontario does not mean the same in BC. Let me tell you that right now. So there were things that we needed to learn. And so we did, and it was all good. But that was the first step in our journey. I had to shut down my business because it was a physical location. So, I let go of my business and I got to reinvent who Lisa was. I got to tell a different story. And that was part of my journey to being that person that wanted to live in Europe. And I realized that if I wanted to be able to move and be in different places, I needed a business that could travel. And it didn't matter where I was. It was location independent, as I call it. And that's how I ended up joining Andrea, because I believe so much in the team that I wanted to spread the word about this. So anyways, back to the story. I got my husband networking. He started looking into courses he needed. He looked at different career alignment and putting out the word that, we're looking for opportunities to, for him to work in Europe. And I have to tell you that all these little steps seemed insignificant, but it started to happen and opportunities started to open up and we were offered a position. And I know I want to tell you it was to Europe, and it wasn't. It was to a Midwestern state in the United States. It was a couple of states down from where we already live. And it was like, oh, that's not what we wanted. But I believed with every fiber of my body that we were going to make it to Europe somehow. And my husband was like, oh, it's the States. That's not where we wanted to go. I should just remove my name from the list because now we won't be going to Europe. And I said, honey, I don't know why, but I believe we're going to do it. Just keep moving, keep doing the paperwork that they want us to do. We had to do our medicals. Remember I told you medical was important, and we had to do interviews for the schools, and we had to do all this stuff. And I said, just keep moving forward. I know we're going to make it to Europe. He's like, there's no way we can because we're profiling for the States. And I said, just do it. And we did, and we kept going. And would you believe? We got a call one day, or he got a call to say, how does Latvia sound? I didn't even know where Latvia was. First question to my husband was, is it in Europe? And he's like, yep. I'm like, I'm in. And so as much as, it wasn't a direct thing, we pushed past all these roadblocks or these left turns that we didn't expect, and we just kept believing, and it happened. So not only did we, 4 years from the time I started being intentional, we were heading to Europe. And remember I told you about how I didn't know how we could afford to even fly over there? Well, we ended up going, this is crazy, first class. And I don't mean the first class in an airplane where they give you fancy drinks. I'm talking a 7-day transatlantic trip on the Queen Mary 2. Okay, high tea, dancing, room service, all the food you can eat. Yeah, I gained a little bit of weight on that one. But it was amazing. I couldn't even imagine that. And not only did we do it going to Europe, we did it coming back as well, which, like I said, is mind-blowing. And so if someone had said to me 5 years before that one day you're going to be living in Europe, you're going to take the Queen Mary there and back, and you're going to travel to 15 or more countries, I would have thought they were crazy. There was no way that I could fathom that would actually happen. But because I clarified what my vision was, and I started taking little steps towards it, there was no magic pill. There was no instantaneous, the genie made me fly into Europe. It was one step at a time and pushing past all the little roadblocks that seemed to make it impossible and just keep believing and keep moving. And so the person that was in Caledon in Ontario was not the person that finally moved to Europe. I needed those different steps to be the person that could handle moving to Europe. And my kids did too. My kids had to leave their home country, go to a new country that did not speak English. I mean, we were told they did. They did not. And they had to make friends. My youngest child, who we talked about before this all started, my 11-year-old, she'd go out in the neighborhood and play with kids that did not speak her language. And she didn't care. She just went out there. She had no fear. Then there was my son, who was 4 years older than her, and he stayed in his room and played video games. But she went out there, and by the time she was finished, these kids didn't care whether she came around or not. She kept going out there, and by the end, when we had to leave, they were crying to see her leave. And it was just amazing to see, to embrace this. Anyways, so I just wanted to say that what we're doing in this 30-day challenge is important, because right now we're working on one small little habit or skill, but this is something that you can take to a bigger level, and you can live your best life. And I did it doing this method. And like I said, that's why I wanted to share that with you. I'm actually going to share my screen right now, so bear with me for 1 second here, because I really hope you understand that it's just not talk, that it's
Lisa, your passion gets me every time. Keep going. I've heard the story and I'm still, okay, sign me up.
I know, and like I said, that's why I want to share it, because it's just, it works, but it's not a magic pill. You guys have to do the work, okay? You need to start planning. You need to start figuring out what it is to be, what success looks like to you. So anyways, let me just share my screen here for a second. Hold on. All right, can you see it now?
Yep, we can, Lisa.
Okay, perfect. All right, so hold on. All right, so we talked about begin with the end in mind. It was living in Europe. I just want to share a couple of photos. The far left one, the Berlin Wall. Those are my kids with the Berlin Wall. My husband and the children when we were on a glacier that straddled Germany and Switzerland. Just incredible. Was it Germany and Switzerland? Germany and, it come to me in a second. This picture here, the three kids in front of that castle kind of thing, that is the castle that they modeled Walt Disney World's Princess Palace from, and it's in Germany. And my daughter, my little one there, she did a project on it the year before when we lived in Vancouver. Who knew we would actually tour that castle? So I had to take a picture because I wanted to send it to her teacher. That's, again, my little one in the striped top with a whole bunch of other kids that we met in Italy. That's a little small town in Italy that we lived for a week, soaking up the sun. You can see how much sun she got. And these are people, although the one girl we actually knew in Vancouver, the rest were new people that we met in Italy. And that's us on the Queen Mary going over. We just had such an amazing time. So I just wanted to share that with you, that it's real, it can happen, but I want you to take what seems like a simple little thing, this 30-day challenge, and I want you just to really do it. Just do it, move forward. If you miss a day, just pick up the next day and keep moving forward.
So
all right.
Lisa, I'm gonna give you a quick time check.
I know.
We have 15 minutes and we still need to get to the why, and we need to do a quick breakout so people can talk about their whys.
All right, I am so sorry for taking so much time. All right, so as you can see, burning desire is important, and you need to figure out what yours is. And sometimes, what is your motivation? Maybe sometimes it's a person. And what does it mean if you were achieving it? What will it do for you? So quickly, I want to go back to my story. Why did I want to live in Europe? I mean, who doesn't want to travel? But my passion was that I wanted to show my children the world. I wanted them to see first how fortunate we were that we live in Canada, and that they should be grateful for the life that they have. But I also felt that I needed to teach them that that other cultures are awesome, and that being different is beautiful. That it doesn't matter where people live or what they believe, that we're all one kind, one humankind. And I couldn't figure out how to teach that from our cozy little home in Canada, no matter what province we were in. And so it was important to me to take them to other countries. And so while we were away, we lived, like I told you, in Latvia, and we traveled to at least 15 countries, some of them 2 and 3 times, because I wanted them to get a taste of how other people lived. And I wanted them to embrace differences and diversity and not to be afraid of it. And this was the only way I could think of doing it. So I did this for my kids. And so that's why I kept pushing. Anyways, I'm gonna stop there because I get choked up. But I want to say one thing, even though we're out of time, I'm just being silly here.
That's okay, Lisa. Keep it real.
I had a dream and I put a date to it. And I said for my 50th birthday, I wanted to be in Italy. That's where my family's from. I wanted to just travel there. And it seemed goofy. And then I thought, well, okay, maybe being up there on my birthday is kind of crazy. Maybe just my 50th year. So I want to share with you one more image before we go to the breakout. And I want to show you me and my husband on my birthday, my 50th birthday in Italy, in Tuscany, at a winery, as well as they made olive oil there, enjoying life. And this is unbelievable to me that we were able to do that. And all because Andrea shared with me how important it is to have this. This is silly, I'm sorry.
That's okay, Lisa. You know what?
So with that, I just want you guys to get clear on your why so you can be where you want to be. And so with that, I'm gonna throw it back to Jamie. I'm gonna turn my camera off. Let's go to breakout rooms.
I'm so moved by that story, guys. And I know that everyone else is here too. We're having a great chat in the breakout or in the chat rooms. And just to read it out, I mean, Leanne said one step at a time. That's exactly it, Leanne. And Paul said, so long as you're committed to it, you can do it. Crystal said she needs that bridge on a pillow, which I love. And she said something which was super poignant. She said, I love that everyone bought into the why and helped move everything forward. And that's actually what Achieve is all about. And that's why June and this month and this community is so important. Guys, if you share your dreams with somebody, if you don't have people who believe in you, if you don't have people who support you in getting to where you want to go, you might start believing what they have to say, right? I don't want to believe in any of that poop. So you need to find people who believe in the same dreams that you have and help support you in getting there. Could you imagine how crushing it would have been to share her dreams with her family and they'd be like, that's ridiculous. I don't know if you can ever do that. We can never get there. How big of a difference does the community have? And also, one other lesson in this is when you begin with the end in mind and you have a big picture vision, whatever you have in your mind can happen, but you don't have to know all the answers. Lisa said she didn't know how it was going to happen. She didn't know how she was going to let go of her business, how she was going to travel, but she started one step at a time. And when you release yourself from the how, everything else falls into place. So here's what we're going to do, guys. We're actually going to go into smaller breakout rooms and we want to have a conversation. We want you guys to, if you haven't already, start dreaming about what the end in mind is. And then what we're going to talk about is your why. Okay. Why do you want that? Why do you have this picture in your head? What motivates you to get there? Because Lisa's why was so strong that even though she had obstacles and she ended up in Vancouver and she thought she was going to go to, the States and they had to take care of this and that, her why was so powerful. She focused in on, you know what, I really want to deliver this to my kids. I want to make the world a better place through my children. And that pushed her forward. Right? That is so powerful. So that's what we're going to do. Now, hello. Hey, guys.
Hi.
Hi. Great to meet you, Leanne.
Nice to meet you.
Great to meet you, too. I saw you on last week's call. I didn't get a chance to actually do this. Awesome. Hey, Carisha, did I pronounce that right? Awesome. And hey, Anna, guys, if you want to unmute yourself, go right ahead. We've got exactly 5 minutes. And I don't know about you, but Lisa's story really touches my heart. And I love hearing about the resilience and truly the miracles that happen. But there are miracles in the mess, and having a strong why helps us push through. Right now, we're talking about 30 days. But I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I've already had obstacles in reaching my goals, and staying committed to that why keeps me going. So I want to chat with you guys and hear from you guys. If you'd like to share your goals, cool. If you want to share your why, that's kind of what I want to hear. Why are you committed to seeing this through? What's motivating you? Who
I'll
would
go
like
first if
please?
give some other people some time to think. So my challenge, I'm doing 30 minutes of piano, and I'm also doing it's a 22-day ab exercise that I'm actually doing with 3 other people. We're all committed to do it. So I have a little community there. And so the ab challenge is because I've been missing the gym for a while, and then I haven't been doing any exercises at all. So this is a good way to get back into it as everything's starting to settle down. And then when the gym's open again, I'll already have that drive to exercise a bit more and be healthy.
I love that.
And for the piano, I do want to teach it to my family in the future, not my parents, but like to my kids when I have them. And because I know the importance of it, I know how useful it is just to get your left and right brain working together, and just having that musical talent and developing that, because it opens up a lot of opportunities. So I want to give that opportunity to them.
That's beautiful. Now, when you talk about music, it sounds like you must have had something like significant happen to you through that. Like, was it really, did you fall in love with the piano? Did you like, what happened?
I've always just really enjoyed the piano. Just the music I listen to, whether it's a bunch of different classical or just music in general, because I actually do kind of dance myself.
Cool.
So I have some experience in that. So I know how significant music can be in changing people's both emotions and maybe their personalities. It can kind of open them up a little
Beautiful.
bit more. So yeah, I know that it can help a lot of people.
That's awesome. I love that. When something helps us, we definitely want to share it with other people, right?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
beautiful. That's awesome. Anybody else? I see Carisha nodding her head along. Yeah, that's right. I see you. Anybody else want to share kind of like their why? Like, what's motivating them to get through these 30 days?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Favor, and then we'll hear from Leanne.
Awesome. I was gonna say that for a while I didn't really think about it, my why, but then seeing how things have played out sort of in my life. I grew up in Nigeria, and I just moved to Canada a couple years ago, about 5 years now, and it's been sort of interesting to see me connecting. And for example, now I work with local businesses and digital marketing agencies. So to really understand that my why has been just because of understanding where I came from and just trying to get better every single day. But I do believe that I need to dive in deeper into my why to really create something solid that would in a way help me keep moving, wake up early every day and just keep moving, because I think that a stronger why would really help me to really stay focused. So I just wanted to share that. And yeah.
That's beautiful. I love hearing the exploration of it. And for those of you who weren't on last week, Favor shared that his why is relational. She's investing 30 minutes every day and like calling people and reconnecting with them. And to me, it sounds really cool to hear that like you came from another country, you came from Nigeria. I don't know if you already have family here or friends here, but I can only imagine moving to a brand new country where if you're all by yourself and you don't even know people, how it can feel really lonely. So I can imagine how much you must have had to work on that. And for me, I know my biggest frustrations always turn into my biggest reasons why. So for me, like if I feel lonely, that's one of my reasons why I don't want other people to feel the way that I felt. And so maybe that's tied to you. Maybe that's something that will resonate with you and why you're moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty
Reasons
cool.
reap results.
Ooh, well said. Well said. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing, Favor. Leanne?
So just to say my goal, because I wasn't on the call last week. So for 30 days, I'm gonna try and sleep. I don't
Yes,
sleep.
I saw
You're
that
the
in the
sleeper.
Telegram group. Yes.
Yeah. I don't sleep well anyways, and the pandemic and all the stresses has really made it bad. So I think one of the things I want to do is sleep better, but the reason why is I want to have more energy. And my ultimate goal, I mean, I hope to retire in 2 years, and then I want to give back to the community. So I want the energy to go out. I want to teach, because I teach yoga now, and I want to do more of that, and I want to give back.
Oh, amazing.
And spend more time. So I need the energy to be able to do it. And when I sleep well, I have so much more energy, and I feel focused, and I can get things accomplished. So
that's
so
amazing.
the goal is to let's get control and sleep.
I love that. I love that. That is super powerful. I love how you cast a vision like beyond the next 2 years as to why you need that energy and what you're going to do with that. That's awesome. Guys, we're just about to bring it back in. What I want to ask is when we go back into the group, we're all going to share just kind of like what went on in the breakout rooms. Can I have a volunteer of somebody who wants to just like share on behalf of this group, like just kind of touching on some of the things that we talked about here? Yes. Yes. Somebody is very excited to raise their hand for that. Favor. Awesome, guys. Okay. We're going to go back into the main room. You'll see a button pop up, and then it'll go black, and then we'll be back in the main room. We'll see you there.
Sounds
Bye.
good.
For the first.
Yeah, our group's here. Usually we're the last ones on to the last minute.
Yeah, for the first.
There's no competition there, right? No.
Yeah.
Made it. I love that. Leanne, you know what? It's really cool to hear your story about sleep too. I'm going to send you a Telegram message because I'm going to have to do some research, but a couple of years ago, I was at a conference. We brought in a sleep expert, and I want to find out who that was because I'd never heard about talking about the subject of sleep, and she shared so many different things about it. Let me find who that was, and I'll send that to you. I'll send it in the group chat.
Thanks.
Right after this.
Oh, here's a quick question for people. When you're in the group chat, how do you reply specifically to the individual?
Great question.
I haven't figured that out.
If you click on the message, then there gives you some options, and then you can click reply to it.
Okay, it usually just tells me to copy, and I don't want to copy, so I'll have to figure that one out.
I think it's just a quick tap.
Yeah,
all
there
right.
might be a drop-down list
So,
in the chat.
welcome back, everyone. And Jamie, we're a little short on time today, so I don't think we're gonna have time to do a breakout on a conversation on what the breakout rooms were. So I'm gonna two things, and we need to go with the flow. Why was such a big challenge last month? And I'm so grateful for Lisa to bear in her heart and sharing her journey, because we need to start with where do we ultimately want to end up, and then how do we go by in a systematic approach to get in there. So we had planned to talk about quantifying your goals, but we'll do that next week, so make sure you're here next week. And I had some real powerful discussion in my breakout about the breakout that I was a part of about people's why. And so I'm going to turn it over to you, Jamie, for us to wrap up. And we're going to keep this room open until 3. So if you still need to stay on and share some more, we're going to be available. But over to the awesome Jamie.
Awesome, guys. You know what? I wanted to ask your permission. Do we have permission to go like 5 minutes over? We'll just kind of very quickly touch on things. Can I get a little head nod? Yes? Awesome. Cool. So typically we end right now. We're super prompt and on the dot, but because of the timeline, the value of this subject, it really is important. So guys, just to very quickly recap what we talked about, Lisa shared about the value of beginning with the end in mind, how you've got to open up your mind, start dreaming, give yourself permission to, and then share that with the community. Get community support behind it. And don't surround yourself with people who are going to drag you down, who don't believe in you. Literally don't accept anything less than the best for what you desire and for what your dreams are. Surround yourself with the people who are going to help you get there. Find those people, and you found them with this community. So be open, share with us, let us know where it is you want to go. Someone here will help. Someone here will be able to point you in the right direction, or at least support you on as you go through it. And then we also talked about your why. It's important to have a strong why, something that gets you out of bed and helps keep you move forward. Lisa often talks about, she's got a health and wellness goal as well. And if she is surface level about it, she's like, well, eating good makes me feel good. And she has a bad day, and she's like, well, cupcakes also make me feel good. So I'll just pop a little cupcake. But is that ultimately going to help her get where she needs to go, which is long-term health and longevity? No. So have a true, don't be surface level about it. Get deep into it. And then guys, be patient with yourselves and be kind with yourselves, because it takes time. Our goals are important. We've got to stay present to what's happening every single day, but be kind with yourself. We're all going to have ups and downs. This is going to be an emotional roller coaster. We're going to have to grow into somebody that we are not today in order to get there. So stay connected, stay plugged in. And when you have trouble believing yourself, find other people who believe in you. So guys, we're actually going to finish up with an affirmation. Now, what is an affirmation? An affirmation is a positive statement you say to yourself. So think about your thoughts. If you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh, I have to work out. I really don't want to. I don't even know if I can today. I don't feel so good. You are affirming to yourself that I don't feel great. Maybe I can't. So an affirmation is a positive statement. You train your brain so that way you start believing in it. So today is all about reinventing yourself. You have the power to reinvent yourself into whoever you want to be. So today, our affirmation is, I have the power to reinvent myself right now. And what it invites you to do is say it out loud, wherever you are, right now. I have the power. I have the power to reinvent myself right now. I don't care if you look silly.
Power to reinvent myself right now.
Yes. Everyone else is on mute, but Andrew's not.
That wasn't muted.
That wasn't muted. But that's great. You know what, guys? Write it down. Say it out loud. Your words have power. We literally create from what we speak. So affirm to yourself positively that you have the power to reinvent yourself right now, and get started. We're here for you, and we are so excited to be on this journey with you. Guys, we're going to officially finish off.
I just want to add one more thing, Jamie.
Please do.
In the email that you received today, there was a link for a download. It's for the why. It's just a tiny little worksheet that will help you drill down on your why. And since we spent a lot of time on that today, I really, if you could go back to that email and download that, and that will help you get started on finding your why. So just a little help that I forgot to mention during my talk. Sorry, Jake, go ahead now.
That is beautiful. So here's what's going to happen. We're going to officially end